After Todd Stater's horrific accident in the Fabricator's Body and Detailing 100 at Quincy a couple days ago, we can report that he is still with us, although his injuries are severe enough to keep him out of the car for the rest of the season. It's very unfortunate that this happened. Todd Stater is definitely one of the more pleasant people that I've talked to. It goes to show you that, yeah, we've come a long way in terms of safety in the sport, but we've still got a long way to go, because I think an accident like that at a track like Quincy was rather inevitable. Our thoughts go out to Todd Stater, his family, and his friends in this difficult time. In other news, ARLA and Farce are merging at the end of the 2013 season. That's right, the new sanctioning body will be called FARC, the Faulkner Auto Racing Championships, and we aren't too sure what this means for each of the series competing under the Farce and ARLA banners. But whatever happens, we do hope that all of the competitors across the two bodies will be able to make the transition smoothly. There are a couple of rumors making the rounds as to what sort of car we could be racing in the Elite Series as a result of this merger, but we will not speculate on that until we have further information. And now we shall begin the Milwaukee Special, the second round of the split weekend and the 12th round of the championship. Taylor Brillin of M&J Racing is on the pole. M&J Racing has brought all four of their cars to Milwaukee today, and that is Kevin Monroe back in the 63 car, making a move for second on Jim Hayes in the 77. Monroe, of course, was injured at Daytona. Brenda Riggs ran a couple races in that 63 car. In fact, she won a pole at Texas. And then at Mexico, Osvaldo Ramirez, one of the local drivers, took a spin in that car and brought home a pretty good result. Jim Hayes in the 77, the rookie for Tom Delgado Racing. He already has 2 wins this season. He tries to take second back from Kevin Monroe, but he has to settle for third and almost chops off Libby Bell, trying to slide in front of the 24, entering turn 3. That is Leslie Riggs in the 50. Right behind Libby Bell, Bobby Portone, the 74, currently runs in 6th. Here we have Cletus McGuffey in the 54 for Team Burr, running in 27th. His teammate Derek Dunning right behind him. And then bringing up the rear of the field is Tom Brayton in the 100 car for the racing team, one of the Tornado Alley Trophy contestants. The Team Burr cars were dangerously slow in the rain at Mexico. Stacy St. Martin in the 5 for Alley Riggs Racing, another one of the Tornado Alley Trophy cars, is in 26th, right in front of that group. And in 25th place is AJ Young, the last of the M&J cars. AJ Young and Stacy St. Martin are struggling to get the hang of their cars in the early part of this race. Hopefully they'll pick up a bit of speed soon. Michael Madrigal holds 8th in the Pie car for Math Motors. Robert Lecklider in the 110 is all over him, and there he goes, making the move for the 8th spot, going into turn 3. John Hawks, the 114, behind him, but John Hawks is facing a challenge from Carlo DePreto, the 37, Lenore Scurry in the 102, and Ramsey Cockiner, the 31, right behind this gaggle of cars. And with all this fighting that they're doing, that's going to bring them closer. Robert Lecklider, the 110, having a very good start. He is competing for the Tornado Alley Trophy. Cletus McGuffey is being hounded by the leader, Taylor Brillin. Brillin laying on the back bumper of that 54 off of 4. She puts him into the wall. On the front stretch, McGuffey goes for a slide. That's going to be the first caution of the day. And McGuffey just got clipped by somebody. I think that was Isaac Leitner in the 94 car. Cletus McGuffey is out of the race. That's a lot of damage to the 54 car. Isaac Leitner was indeed the driver who clipped McGuffey. Leitner is out as well. He is another one of the Tornado Alley Trophy contestants in this race. Brillin is not showing a whole lot of patience for these lapped cars, opting to dump the 54 right away, and unfortunately she got Leitner swept up in it. The entire field pitted under this caution, and Brillin maintains the lead. Bigsby Foot seems to have a problem of some kind, makes his way back to the pits, but ends up meeting the end of the pit wall. I think that Bigsby Foot ought to leave the track right away. He's not going to be able to talk himself out of that one. Here is AJ Young in the 15 for M&J Racing. His pit crew has vaulted him all the way up to 8th after he had a poor start to this race. Maybe we'll get to see what he can do up in the top 10. Taylor Brillin is the leader on the restart. Kevin Monroe, the 63, second, and Carlo DePreto up to 3rd in the 37 car, so quick pit work by the 37 bunch as well. Monroe running very wide up in turns 1 and 2. Maybe he thought he could get a run that way. Tom Brayton in the 100 car is now a lap down. He is in 26th place, and with Derek Dunning, he is helping to hold up the rest of the field. Libby Bell, AJ Young, Ramsey Cockiner, the 31, all being impeded by the 100 and the 68, and now they are just forming a roadblock, running side by side. This is actually Brayton's first Tornado Alley Trophy race. He was suspended from Montgomery after being involved in an accident under caution at Daytona, and the team didn't bother to find another driver for that race, so they sat out. Brayton washes up the track and starts to let a few people go. You saw Leslie Riggs shooting up the middle, entering turn 3 as soon as an opening formed. Michael Madrigal had a problem with that pie car, and he had to make an unscheduled pit stop. He fell a couple laps down, and I do believe that car is underpowered. He's struggling to get up to speed. That's a shame to see. Madrigal had a good start to the race, and he's been decently fast in that Math Motors car in the beginning of the season. Battle for third heats up between Tom Delgado Racing teammates Carlo DiPreto and Jim Hayes. Hayes is trying to bounce back from his crash at Mexico, where he tangled with one of the locals and smashed into the end of the pit wall. Hayes took a big tumble in the point standings after that, and running in third right now, he's definitely sitting in a good position to have a good run. Jim Hayes is the only repeat winner of this season, and he just got together with Tom Brayton. They both slide into the turn 1 wall. The caution is out once again, as it looked like Tom Brayton just came down on Hayes entering turn 1. Like, he didn't even know the 77 was coming, and granted, Hayes did come from a long way back to dive in there, but Brayton is running so much slower than everyone else, he really shouldn't be hogging the racing line like that. Fortunately for Jim Hayes, he came away from that without too much damage, so he should be good to go for the rest of the race as Carlo DiPreto beats everyone else out of the pit lane and will take over the lead of the race. DiPreto is off to a very good start to his race in that rather ugly brown-orange-ish 37 Spinner Rotors car. He grabbed a win at Saitama last year as a rookie, as AJ Young's pit crew once again has served him very well and put him back up to 7th for the restart. Young dropped like a brick on that last restart, as, quite frankly, I expected. It's nice to see that his crew is so fast, but I'm sure the rest of his competitors are going to be quite annoyed with having to pass him over and over again. AJ Young has quite a few top 15s under his belt this season, so you can't argue that he has been improving ever since he stepped into that 15 car. Philip Orland in the second Math Motors car is out of the race with a blown engine. He was going to start 17th on the restart. Carlo DiPreto leads Taylor Brillen and Kevin Monroe, the M&J teammates. Just like AJ Young in the 15, Carlo DiPreto's crew has really been on top of things, and they have put him in the lead on the restart. Although the M&J cars are hounding him, Brillen goes to the inside heading into turn 3. Monroe in the 63 follows her. DiPreto is trying to hold off Brillen, but Brillen does have the preferred line, and the 37 does not appear to be quite as strong as the M&J cars. Here's Allie Riggs getting turned by Herbie Finkelberg into the inside wall off of turn 2. That's going to be another caution. This was right after the restart. That's almost a carbon copy of when she got dumped into the wall by Osvaldo Ramirez at Mexico last week. I don't think that we should play her radio communications. Allie Riggs goes into the wall after running midfield in the early part of this race. Robert Lecklider, who was running in 4th, blows his engine under caution and brings the Strickland propane machine to the pit lane. Bobby Porteau in the 74 for Mitchell & Sons also goes out of the race. Win or bust is that team's philosophy, at least in this series. Unfortunately, it's been more bust for them most of the time. Porteau, the 2010 champion, has had the speed in that car, though. Carlo DiPreto continues to lead, and that is AJ Young all the way up in 2nd, but he was sleeping on the start, allowing DiPreto to get a huge gap going into turn 3. The 15 pit crew is once again very fast, but now Young is stacking everyone up behind him. That is John Hawks in the 114 third. Scurry and Brillen trying to go 3 wide. Hawks makes a quick getaway on the outside, bringing Kevin Monroe and Leslie Riggs with him. And now Young is holding up his teammate Brillen coming down the front stretch. Those two had a bit of a clash after the race at Mexico, in which Brillon crashed into AJ Young trying to put him a lap down. Those two are obviously not the best of friends over at M&J Racing, but they're stuck with each other, so we're just going to have to see how they work it out. As AJ Young is really quite slow. He's even getting passed by Michael Madrigal, who we think has dropped a cylinder. And there's contact! Madrigal into the wall and back up in front of traffic. That's a big crash on the front stretch. Herbie Finkelberg got a big lick. Ramsey Cockiner, Dan Lucklider involved, Nick Asher, the 46. Asher's been quite the pinball this season. It all started with a tap from behind by the 5-0 of J.W. Lester. He got shoved in front of Jim Hayes, the 77. Hayes was not left with too many options but to put Madrigal into the wall, and that's going to be the end of the race for Michael Madrigal, as well as Herbie Finkelberg, the 66 car. He was running in 13. He was off to a pretty good start to this race. Coming back to the caution, Kevin Monroe has a run on Carlo DiPreto. The M&J engines definitely have more power than the TDR engines today, as Kevin Monroe quite easily takes the lead from DiPreto. Monroe is off to a great start in his first race back, although he has not finished a race yet this year, so we'll just have to see if that car holds out, as Carlo DiPreto takes the lead after pit stops once again. Monroe's lead was short-lived, but he did pick up a bonus point for leading a lap, and he's going to need all the points he can get after missing so many races. Tanner Clayson is up to 4th now in that 79 car for the Tornado Alley Trophy. John Hawks, the 114, he's off to a great start as well. He is now 7th, stuck in an M&J sandwich between Taylor Brillon and Kevin Monroe. Monroe fell back quite a bit after pit stops. His pit crew obviously not as fast as some of the others today. That white 114 car is quite easy to get mixed up with some of the other white cars in this field. DiPreto leads. Ramsey Cockiner, the 31, up to 2nd. Lev Azarov 3rd. They have not been in the top 5 all day today. In fact, Ramsey Cockiner was involved in that last crash. He got away without too much damage. Here is AJ Young, who was once again put up at the front of the field by his pit crew, but here comes the rest of the field. Brillon gets stuck behind him as John Hawks squeaks by on the outside. Lenore Scurry, the 102, trying to mount a charge as Brillon continues to get held up by the 15, but now he lets her go into turn 1. AJ Young wisely letting his teammate go before she wrecks him. Remember, it was Brillon who brought out the first caution by dumping Cletus McGuffey into the wall off of turn 4. And now Kevin Monroe is being held up by another lapped car, Tom Brayton, and he just turns the 100 around off of 4. That's going to bring out another caution. The M&J bunch are not taking too kindly to lap cars today, as he almost took out Libby Bell trying to get that car slowed down. The entire field pits once again. Tire wear has been a bit of an issue today, as Taylor Brillon now retakes the lead. John Hawks is going to come out in 2nd. Lenore Scurry up to 3rd in the 102 for Motor Assault Racing. Scurry, the Hungarian rookie, took over that 102 car after Laura Cyrus left the team for racers with disabilities. Cyrus got taken out in an accident at Quincy a couple days ago. Here is Megan Driver up to 5th place after a quick pit stop by the Terra International Motorsports crew. Megan Driver is making her 2nd start in that 41 car. Remember, Jack Dempsey, who normally drives this car, was suspended for 3 races after causing an accident under caution at Texas. Dempsey will be back in that car when we head up to Canada. Brillon leads on the restart. She starts to build up a gap over the MT Motorsports 114 car. AJ Young is once again getting freight trained by everybody else. Kevin Monroe and Cyrus Lateras of the 75 for Mitchell & Sons getting by him in turns 3 and 4. Ramsey Cockiner and Leslie Riggs follow. As slow as AJ Young has been, I am thankful that he isn't quite as dangerous as some of the other lapped cars that are going much slower than him. Although, I'm sure he is annoying the hell out of everyone, stacking up the field like that. Cyrus Lateras in the 75 running 7th for Mitchell & Sons, and he almost comes down on Leslie Riggs as she rather rudely stuck her nose in there. Fortunately, they avoided a big crash. Lateras is competing for the Tornado Alley Trophy for the Mitchell & Sons, and Leslie Riggs almost makes contact with the 41 of Megan Driver. Well, Leslie Riggs is obviously on a mission. She's made up 2 positions in 1 lap. Kevin Monroe making his way back up through the field. He just took third from the Hungarian rookie, Lenore Scurry. Monroe's pit crew has not been the fastest, but he's been making up for that on the track. Monroe won the championship in 2011, but he struggled along with the rest of M&J Racing with crashes and mechanical failures. He did get a win in California, though, and now he is hunting down John Hawkes in the 114. John Hawkes is currently second. He's in danger of being overtaken, but nonetheless, he's been having a great run so far. We haven't talked about him too much, although I suppose having a plain white car doesn't help. He gives Monroe plenty of room going into turn 1. He knows that the 63 is much faster than he is, so he's not going to risk fighting him too hard and possibly having an accident. Here comes Leslie Riggs challenging Lenore Scurry for 4th. 3 of the 4 M&J Racing cars are now in the top 5. They are obviously on top of everything today. Riggs is storming through the field looking for her first win since Albuquerque in 2011. Tom Brayton has spent a few laps in the pits, and when he came back out, he was 8 laps down. I watched that team on pit road. They had the hood up, and they were banging away at something. It doesn't look like they've fixed anything, though. He's just as slow as ever. Megan Driver in the 41 has fallen back to 8th place, and I think she's lost a little bit of power in that 41 car. She's got J.W. Lester in the 5-0 hounding her, and Libby Bell, the 24, making a, so far, successful run on the outside. She is holding off the 41 in there. She goes, she's going to clear Driver off of turn 2. Hardly anyone has been able to make a pass on the outside work. So, again, I think that something may be wrong with that 41 car, as now she comes under attack from J.W. Lester. Tanner Clayson in the 79 becomes the latest victim of engine troubles. He came into this race 3rd in the Tornado Alley Trophy standings, and this is going to be a huge blow to him in that odd-looking 79 car. Kevin Monroe has been running down his teammate and protege Taylor Brillin, and now he is all over the back of the 64, coming down the front stretch, and there he goes into turn 1, making the move for the lead. Monroe has confessed that he will not go for the win unless he knows for sure that he has the car capable of doing it. It certainly seems like one of those days for him, so he's going to go for it. No team orders going on over at M&J Racing. Brillin trying to hold him off through 4, but there's lap traffic. Stacy St. Martin gets into the back of the 100 at Tom Brayton. That could have been a huge crash, but Monroe gets stuck behind these two, and Brillin is going to keep the lead. There goes Monroe by the 5 now. Stacy St. Martin is running a lap down, and here comes Leslie Riggs, who doesn't have nearly as much trouble getting around the 5. Stacy St. Martin, the high school junior, is competing for the Tornado LA Trophy for Allie Riggs Racing. St. Martin describes herself as Allie Riggs' biggest fan, and she got the ride largely because of the cash that she and her family brought to the team. Next week, the series will roll into Williams Grove Speedway, St. Martin's home track, so she's going to be competing there, although I understand that she doesn't have the best of reputations at that track. Cyrus Laterza is up to 5th in the 75 car, although he's now being held up by Stacy St. Martin. Carla DePreto, the 37, is all over him. He's got Ramsey Cockiner, the 31, following. Cyrus Laterza previously competed in the Team Master Cup Series for this very same team. He got a win for them at Daytona in 2007. That was his only victory in that series, but it's good to see that the Michelin Sons are still very loyal to him. Leslie Riggs in the 50 is now in 3rd place, so it's now an M&J Racing 1, 2, 3, and she's been running down Kevin Monroe, and now AJ Young is holding up the leaders and his teammates, allowing Riggs to catch right up to the back of the 63, but Taylor Brillin, the 64, has gotten away and is opening up quite a large gap over Monroe and Riggs. Riggs moving up the track, I think trying to scare off AJ Young before she runs into him. Young seems to have gotten the message and has allowed his teammates to get away. Dan Lucklider, the 10L, has blown up, and he's going to come to a stop on the track. That's going to bring out the caution with just 18 laps to go. And that's the second engine failure for Lucklider Racing. His brother fell out of the race early on. Obviously, those mechanics have not been giving it their best effort. Cyrus Laterza in the 75 is now the leader as pit stops cycle out under caution. I believe Laterza only took 2 tires, so he's getting desperate to be up at the front of the field and overtake Kurt Walker in the Tornado Alley Trophy standings, although Walker crashed out at Quincy a couple days ago, so that shouldn't be too hard as long as he maintains position. And now Kevin Monroe is blown up under caution. A fantastic day for Kevin Monroe. Goes up in smoke. This is going to be his third DNF in his third start. At Lakeland at the beginning of the season, he blew up. At Daytona, he, as we all know, crashed and was injured. And now he blows up again in his first race back. What a tough break for the 63 bunch. And the rest of the M&J drivers have now got to be nervous about their own engines, as John Hulks now has a problem under caution. He was having a great day as well, and this problem will be terminal. John Hulks goes out of the race. Cyrus Laterza is the leader on the restart. J.W. Lester second, Ramsey Cockiner third, Taylor Brillin, the 64, is back to fourth place. We know that the Mitchell & Sons cars are fast. Let's see if Cyrus Laterza can hang on and avenge his fallen teammate Bobby Porteau. But now J.W. Lester, the 5-0, is making a move on the outside. He does have the run down the backstretch. We haven't seen very many people go up to the high side to try to make a pass unless the car that they're trying to pass is woefully underpowered. That doesn't seem to be the case for Cyrus Laterza as he hangs on. You saw Brillin now up to third place. She's trying to claw her way back up to the front of the field. Her pit crew has not been the fastest today, but she's got the car and the speed to make up for that as Brillin now makes a move on Lester for second, heading into turn 3. Lester gives up the spot rather easily. Regardless, Lester has been having a great run. The former Mississippi State Sheriff is a rookie in the series this year, driving for Peter Irving Gray Sports. He almost won the Mini Indy 500 last year. Leslie Riggs now making a move around Ramsey Cockiner. Riggs also fell back after pit stops, but she's been making her way back up towards the front as Taylor Brillin now retakes the lead from Cyrus Laterza. We've only got 10 laps to go now. J.W. Lester making a move on Laterza for second place, allowing Brillin to get away. Brillin already has a win this season, the second round of the Henry Walker Memorial back at Texas. Carla DiPreto is all over the back of the 31 of Ramsey Cockiner for fifth place. Cockiner is having one of his best runs since Daytona, where he blew up while leading. Leslie Riggs is all over the back of the 5-0 car. Cars 50 and 5-0, challenging each other coming down the backstretch. Fortunately, J.W. Lester's car has a lot more white on it than Leslie Riggs' car. Otherwise, we'd probably have a very hard time telling them apart. Riggs makes the move stick and takes over second place, and now she can focus on running down her teammate Taylor Brillin, who got held up a little bit by the 100 of Tom Brayton, and you see J.W. Lester trying to hang on to the back of the 50, although he doesn't seem to have the power that the M&J cars have. The M&J cars run the V6 engines, while I believe Peter Irving Gray Sports runs L4s. Brillin maintains a gap of about 3 car lengths on the 50, coming to 5 laps to go. Here is the battle for 7th between Libby Bell and Lenore Scurry. Libby Bell led the early part of race 10 at Mexico before she threw it off the track in turn 3, which tripped up so many drivers in that race, and she almost gets together with Ramsey Cockiner, the 31, trying to take over 6th. So Libby Bell is now trying to claw her way up through the field, but obviously she's not going to have nearly enough time to get up towards the lead. Taylor Brillin now held up by the 5 of Stacy St. Martin. Leslie Riggs all over the back of her, coming to 2 to go. Again, no team orders going on over at M&J Racing. Whatever happens, happens. Leslie Riggs trying to win her first race since her accident at the Master Cup race at Daytona 2 years ago. She finished second at Lakeland at the beginning of the season after Lev Azarov smashed into the back of her under caution. But Brillin now trying to hold off Riggs. Coming off the corner, the leaders see the white flag, but the caution is out! The caution has come out before the leaders took the white! Here's Stacy St. Martin, the lapped car, J.W. Lester trying to run her down, and he just smashes into the back of the 5 and puts her in the wall, going into turn 3. He dumped the 5 pretty blatantly there. I wonder if J.W. Lester was trying to force the green-white-checkered and catch back up to Brillin and Riggs. Lester is in third. This would put him behind the leader on the inside line on the restart. So he would be sitting in a very good position. Brillin leads the field around to complete the advertised distance. Once again, we will get a green-white checkered here because the yellow flag came out before the leader took the white. It looked like it was going to be Brillin and Riggs duking it out for the win, but now we've got a 2-lap shootout with the field all bunched up. We're going to have 12 cars taking the restart. Jim Hayes, who's got a bit of damage, is going to start in last. He's going to be able to get that damage repaired, and we're going to see what he will be able to do. And remember, if the caution comes out again on this restart, we're going to get another 2 laps to do the whole thing all over again. So this race is far from over at this point. Everyone is now bunched up for the restart. Taylor Brillin on the inside, she's the leader. Leslie Riggs in second place on the outside. That is not the best position for her to be in. Brillin gets a good start over JW Lester, who I think was sleeping on the restart there. Brillin's going to want to build up as big of a gap as possible as I see Libby Bell going 3 wide with JW Lester and Cyrus Laterza. Brillin slides up in front of Riggs, but there goes Riggs to the inside. She makes a move for the lead into turn 3. Brillin has led most of this race, and now she is under attack from her teammate who has the preferred line. The leaders take the white flag, so now we're not going to get another chance for a restart. Riggs inches ahead into turn 1. This is just like how Brillin herself grabbed the lead on that green-white checkered at Texas. In 2011, Leslie Riggs grabbed 3 wins in this series. She was on her way to her best season ever until she had her accident. We were all worried that she would not be the same after that. But today, Leslie Riggs returns to victory lane with a last lap pass on her teammate on this green-white checkered finish. Starting on the outside of the leader was probably one of the worst positions that Riggs could have been in, but she had a very clear shot to the inside coming down the backstretch. We had an incident on the white flag lap as Lev Azarov and Nick Asher got together, sending Lenore Scurry into the wall. Fortunately, they all kept it going and finished the race without too much of a problem. And now let's take a look at the full results. Leslie Riggs comes away with 106 points, 105 for winning the race, and an extra point for leading a lap. Taylor Brillin got the pole, led a lap, and led the most laps for 101 points. Libby Bell 3rd, JW Lester 4th, Cyrus Laterza 5th. Good runs for Lester and Laterza. Ramsey Cockiner 6th, DePreto 7th, Megan Driver 8th. Jim Hayes 9th, Lev Azarov 10th, Nick Asher 11th. That's his first top 15 finish of the season, so that will place him in the first round at Williams Grove, the first time that he's qualified for the first round of any race weekend. And here we have a lot of the drivers who fell out because of engine failures, although Herbie Finkelberg and Michael Madrigal crashed out, as well as Allie Riggs. And a lot of these guys who fell out were rather fast too, such as John Hoggs, Kevin Monroe, and Robert Lechleiter. Isaac Leitner and Cletus McGuffey bring up the rear of the field after going out in the first accident of the race. And now that the second race of this split weekend is done and over with, we can now show you the point standings. Taylor Brillin leads by 21 points over Rachel Rainsford. Jim Hayes is back up into 3rd, leading the Rookie of the Year standings. Jessica Graham is 4th after a terrible 2012 season. Graham has completely turned it around, though. She now holds the most top 10s out of anyone in the series with 5. Leslie Riggs, with her win, jumps up to 12th. Barton Sandy, 13th in the standings, although he doesn't have a whole lot of funding behind that 92 car and is not running every race. Nick Howard, with his win, jumps up to 17th. He is also not running every race. Libby Bell and Bigsby Foot, 23rd and 25th. We honestly expected them to be much higher in the point standings, considering how much Power Steering Incorporated dominated last year. A.J. Young is in a tie for 28th with Barry McIntyre and the 7 car of Zach Gott and Eric Jackson. We're already 12 races into the season, and we still have quite a few ties to settle. Trey Ashby and Kelly Posadas are in a tie for 38th, and then the 10L of Lucas Flint and Dan Lechleiter is 40th. And now here are the Tornado Alley Trophy standings after the second of the 5 races. Cyrus Laterza is now on top. Tanner Clayson up to 2nd despite blowing his engine. Kurt Walker is back to 3rd. Sarah Carlisle and Carla DePreto are tied for 4th. Stacy St. Martin and Isaac Leitner are tied for 7th, although Leitner has shown quite a bit more speed than Stacy St. Martin, so I would expect him to climb up the standings in future races.